Three small alien cubs landed their tiny silver ship on Earth at night. Their noses twitched with curiosity. Strange smells filled the air. One cub pointed excitedly toward bright street lights where humans were cooking something delicious. The cubs slowly walked through a busy street market. People laughed and talked loudly. Suddenly, a warm, spicy smell drifted toward them. Their stomachs rumbled together like tiny thunder. They hid behind a table and watched a man slicing meat from a tall spinning grill. The meat dropped onto soft bread with vegetables and sauce. The cubs stared in amazement. One cub whispered, "What is that magical food?" Another cub checked its scanner. The screen flashed, "Shawarma, popular Earth street food." The cub's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We must taste this Earth treasure," the smallest cub said. Their great food adventure had begun. The cubs carefully stepped closer to the shawarma stall. The spinning tower of meat glowed under warm lights. The cook sliced the meat quickly and wrapped it with garlic sauce and vegetables. The cubs watched every move like scientists studying a mystery. Humans lined up happily for the food. One cub whispered, "If humans love it this much, it must be powerful." Their curiosity grew stronger than their fear. A kind street vendor noticed the strange little visitors. Instead of being scared, he smiled warmly. "Hungry?" he asked, offering a freshly wrapped shawarma. The cubs looked at each other nervously. Slowly, the bravest cub reached forward and accepted the warm wrap. Steam rose from the bread, carrying the delicious smell of spices. The cub took a small bite, and suddenly its eyes widened with joy. The flavor exploded in the cub's mouth. Juicy meat, creamy sauce, crunchy vegetables, and soft bread mixed perfectly. The cub jumped happily. "This is incredible," it shouted in alien language. The other cubs quickly grabbed their own shawarmas. Soon all three were munching happily. Around them, humans laughed and enjoyed the busy night market. The cubs realized Earth food culture was full of wonderful surprises. As they ate, their scanners started analyzing the food. Data appeared: spices, grilled meat, garlic sauce, fresh vegetables. The cub scientist cub announced, "This food is nutritious and extremely delicious." Humans nearby watched the cute creatures enjoying shawarma. Some even took photos. The cubs didn't mind. They were too busy discovering their new favorite Earth meal. One cub looked at the long line of hungry customers. "Why is shawarma so popular?" it wondered. The vendor laughed and said, "Because it's fast, tasty, and affordable." The cubs nodded wisely. On their planet, food preparation took hours. But here, shawarma was made quickly for everyone. The cubs admired human creativity. Street food, they realized, was an amazing invention. Suddenly, the cubs' spaceship communicator beeped loudly. Their captain's voice echoed, "Report your findings." The cubs quickly answered, "Captain, we discovered the fastest-growing street food on Earth." They described the spinning grill, the soft bread, and the amazing flavor. The captain paused silently, then replied, "Bring samples immediately." Excited by their mission, the cubs bought extra shawarmas. The vendor happily wrapped several pieces for them. "Share with your friends," he said kindly. The cubs thanked him with cheerful alien sounds. As they walked away, they noticed more shawarma stalls across the street. It seemed this delicious food was everywhere. The cub scientist explained, "Shawarma spread quickly because it's easy to cook and loved by many cultures." The others nodded while munching their food. Around them, the city glowed with neon lights and laughter. The cubs felt like true explorers discovering human traditions. A group of children noticed the alien cubs and waved excitedly. Instead of fear, the children offered fries and drinks. The cubs happily shared their shawarmas. Soon everyone was laughing together. The cubs realized humans enjoyed sharing food with strangers. One cub studied the rotating grill carefully. "This cooking technology is fascinating," it said. The heat slowly roasted the meat, while the cook sliced thin layers. The smell alone made people hungry from far away. The cubs recorded videos for their home planet. Earth street food discovery, shawarma. The scientist cub narrated proudly. They filmed customers smiling while eating. The cubs believed this food could become famous across the galaxy. While exploring more stalls, the cubs discovered different shawarma styles. Some used chicken, others beef or lamb. Sauces varied from garlic to spicy chili. Each bite tasted unique. The cubs realized shawarma represented Earth's diversity. Many cultures had added their own flavors to the dish. This made it even more special. Suddenly, their communicator beeped again. The captain sounded curious. "Describe the taste again." The cubs laughed and answered, "Captain, it tastes like happiness." Nearby humans laughed at the adorable aliens. Someone said, "Looks like they love shawarma as much as we do." The cubs proudly agreed. The alien cubs gathered near their tiny silver spaceship, still holding warm shawarma wraps. The scientist cub spoke seriously. "This discovery is bigger than we thought. Shawarma is not just food. It's fast, delicious, and loved by many humans." The other cubs nodded while chewing happily. Around them, the night market buzzed with life, people laughing, vendors cooking, music playing. One cub looked at the busy shawarma stall and said, "If humans enjoy this every day, maybe our planet will love it too." The cubs decided their mission had changed. They would bring shawarma home and share Earth's amazing street food with the galaxy. Before leaving Earth, the cubs returned to the friendly shawarma vendor. The man smiled when he saw them again. "Back for more," he laughed. The cubs nodded eagerly. The vendor prepared a giant shawarma wrap, bigger than all the others. He added extra meat, vegetables, and garlic sauce. The delicious smell filled the cool night air. The cubs watched carefully, recording every step with their scanners. "This cooking method is simple but brilliant," the scientist cub explained. When the shawarma was ready, the vendor handed it to them proudly. The cubs bowed politely, grateful for the kindness of humans. The cubs carefully carried the giant shawarma toward their spaceship. Inside the ship, they placed it in a special preservation box designed for alien samples. The scientist cub scanned the food again, recording ingredients, temperature, spices, and cooking techniques. "We must preserve the exact taste," it said seriously. The other cubs nodded while finishing the last small wraps they had bought earlier. Outside, the city lights sparkled beneath the stars. The cubs realized Earth was full of exciting discoveries, but shawarma might be the most important one for their mission. The spaceship engines hummed softly as they powered up. Through the window, the cubs watched the lively street market below. Humans were still laughing, talking, and enjoying food together. The smell of grilled meat and spices drifted faintly through the night air. One cub sighed happily. "Earth food culture is amazing," it said. The scientist cub agreed. "Street food connects people," it explained. "It's fast, affordable, and full of flavor." The cubs recorded their final observations for the mission report. Soon they would leave Earth, but the memory of shawarma and the friendly vendor would stay with them forever. As the spaceship slowly rose into the sky, the cubs waved toward the shawarma stall far below. The vendor looked up in surprise as the tiny ship glowed like a star. The cubs laughed with excitement. "We will return someday," one promised. Inside the ship, the delicious shawarma rested safely in the storage container. The cubs couldn't resist opening it again to smell the wonderful spices. "Still perfect," one cub said happily. Their small adventure had turned into a discovery that might change food across the galaxy. The spaceship entered space, leaving Earth glowing like a blue jewel behind them. The cub captain contacted them through the communicator. "Report immediately," the captain ordered. The cubs eagerly described shawarma again. The spinning grill, the warm bread, the garlic sauce, and the incredible flavor. The captain listened carefully. Finally, the captain said, "This sounds extraordinary. The Galactic Council will want to test this food." The cubs cheered. Their discovery was becoming more important than they imagined. During the long journey home, the cubs studied shawarma closely. They analyzed the spices, bread texture, and roasting technique. The scientist cub explained how the rotating grill allowed meat to cook slowly and evenly. "This design is efficient and delicious," it said proudly. The other cubs practiced wrapping bread around vegetables and meat samples. Sometimes their wraps looked messy, but they kept learning. Every experiment made them laugh. They hoped their planet would enjoy shawarma just as much as humans did. Finally, their home planet appeared ahead, a bright world filled with futuristic cities. The spaceship prepared for landing. Messages from scientists and leaders filled their screens. Everyone was curious about the strange Earth food called shawarma. "Prepare the sample," the captain ordered. The cubs carefully opened the storage container. The smell of spices filled the ship once again. Even the ship's robots seemed curious. The cubs smiled proudly. Knowing they carried something truly special at the Galactic Council Hall, many alien leaders gathered to see the discovery. The cubs presented the shawarma with excitement. The scientist cub explained everything, from Earth street markets to the spinning grill. The leaders listened with fascination. Finally, they tasted the shawarma. For a moment, the hall became completely silent. Then suddenly, many aliens began smiling and cheering. "This is delicious," one leader shouted. The cubs looked at each other proudly. From that day forward, shawarma became famous across the galaxy. Alien chefs learned the Earth cooking method and opened street stalls on many planets. Travelers everywhere enjoyed the warm bread, juicy meat, and tasty sauces. The three small alien cubs became legendary explorers who discovered one of the universe's greatest foods. Whenever they smelled shawarma cooking, they remembered that magical night on Earth, the busy street, the friendly vendor, and the first delicious bite that started.